Hi guys, this is the 11th video. First of all, I just want to thank everybody who leaves messages and engages. I appreciate you guys, giving me some information. I'm definitely have more information. I've done more readings and I am more familiar with things. I'm sorry. This is probably like this is my second try of making this video. First of all, my laptop is hacked. Obviously hacked, and they're kind of messing with my browsers. They can keep back and forth with browsers. It feels like they do whatever they want with my computer. So, and also I have my perps, who are my roommates and who are making sure that they're disturbing whatever is going on. I'm sure they're hearing me like literally, but yeah, we're just gonna pretend like that they don't hear us. So in this video, I would say I'm going to talk about how you know family distancing is one of the biggest um, factor in isolation. Um, Prior to me knowing about target individual, thinking that was just me, um, I was like, if my own family can do that to me, then any perp can do anything, right? But with enough search and with enough research and information, that the first thing the most targeted individual, what happens to them is they try to, the perps, so the people in charge of this program, the first thing is they try to cut the line of safety, which is family. So they infiltrate, and they use different ways to make sure that your family and you kind of no longer communicate or no longer trust each other. They have the same narrative. They use either like some kind of sex offender, some kind of psychopath of some kind, potential criminal or terrorist or something bizarre. Mind you, I've never been in court for anything criminal. I've never. There's not a single victim of any kind that ever came forward for with any allegation or nothing. If there's, so, and if there was, it's not like I'm somebody who is powerful enough or has wealth that can make something disappear, cases disappear, right? Um, so so whatever narrative they have, they're probably using people who would who are probably respecting, in a sense, authority figures who approach the family members, and that's what that's what most people say is some kind of authority figure comes and talk to family and involve them in this program. So my family specifically not only distance themselves, well, I distance myself from them because they were participants. Instead of me having random perps that I don't really know and don't care as much, it would have been my own brother or my own sister or my own mother doing this. And I know that because as soon as I got the V2K in August 2019, I decided, what, this is too, let me go to my family in in Central East Africa and see what happened. As I go there, the same script, and on top of that, people that like my own mother doing the same thing, and then me being hit with all the V2K stuff, which is the worst, right? The perception insertion, the thought insertion, the intrusive thoughts, they put in the disturbing one, the nightmares, the whole organs, the bowel movement control, all of that in the small country in Africa was happening. So in this video, I really want to talk about my experience with family and how my family, you know, I found myself finding out that my family is part of this program. Um, so I know when my targeting started, when I started working for this company based in Wisconsin. That was my first job out of college, and so around 2014, that's when I started getting targeted, and or at least noticing, and that's when I started working for that company. Actually, I started working late 2013, but late 2014, that's when I noticed that I was getting special, special, special care, I would say. Noticed something was different around late 2014, but it wasn't still bad. But a little background about my life. So I was born in Africa, Central East Africa, and moved in the U.S. when I was 12. So from 12 to now, I lived in the U.S. I went to school in the U.S. I went to college in the U.S. thanks to my family and thanks to my mother, my parents. I went through school and pretty tight with family, not perfect family, the argument, typical family stuff, but always relied on each other. Looked up to my parents, looked up to my mother, looked up to my older siblings. They were there for me at the time. Of course, there was friction like typical family, but nothing. At the end of the day, we were all there for each other if something bad happened. You know, and I would say in the family, I was like the comedian of the family. I didn't take things too serious. I was just like all about jokes and having fun and everybody enjoying themselves and me cracking jokes. But there was always ups and downs like typical families, and yeah. But at the end of the day, we always were together. And so things starting to be weird with family when I started working. And that was my first job. Uh, First job fresh out of college. I was excited about that job. At first I was able to travel thanks to the job. It was, like an opportunity that was amazing. And first, you know, because it was such a at the time I thought it was a great opportunity. I was so dedicated to it that I was willing to just work as much as I could. But I was noticing that something was happening, like around late 2014. Yeah, I was noticing my family were like distancing itself, and I thought maybe it's just because me working, having, it's like this is a new dynamic. I'm employed with, potentially a great career, and there's still thing going on within the family that had nothing to do with me, or with siblings, and but I noticed there was something weird. But I thought maybe it's just me working to the new dynamic. It's kind of different. So maybe the energy that I was bringing back from work with the stress from work, coming home and seeing maybe something was maybe they could feel that and they were wondering. But as time goes, I just noticed this is just it's not just me. It's like there is something. They're part of whatever I'm having, whatever issues I'm having at work. Seems like it's connected. They're connected to that. And I didn't know if I was being too paranoid, but it became to a point where I can't imagine if my own family, and that's me and my thought. Just it'll be. I just can't imagine my family betraying me to this level where they're working with my colleagues I work to to make my life hard. So I kept asking, it's like, is everything okay? Why are you acting this so differently? I noticed that you still like you kind of using me like a punching bag for any reason somebody can do wrong, and then I'm the one to blame. Some other issue happens is goes back to me constantly to the point where I got tired. I couldn't sleep at the time. I could go like I only slept during the weekends. Weekdays, it was almost impossible. I just lay there and just my thought would just go. Just I couldn't sleep, and I just assumed it was just the harassment from work. that was, getting to me, not knowing that there's probably something more happening. And that happens, for years, to the point where, it was just got too much with work and family. And at the time, I was dating somebody um, who was definitely like, when I say infiltrate, she probably, before being in a relationship with me, she was probably involved with whatever entity that's in this, organizing this thing. So I was with her for 3 years, and at first I saw her as a refuge, a place where, my family is kind of toxic, my work is toxic, and I'm like, okay, getting this toxicity from all ends. My girlfriend at the time was a refuge, so I kind of distanced myself from most of my family and kind of spend more time. And as time goes, even my girlfriend started to act in a way where I wasn't fully, especially when I moved in with her, and we all lived under one roof. That's when her act started. Shortly after, she was acting like I couldn't trust her. Um, so I moved in with her. It was drama there. My family, something goes off. Couldn't figure out what it was. My mother kept trying to get something out of her to ask, asking her what's going on. What's, like what, like whatever it is, just tell me so we can figure it out. Let me know because I don't understand. It makes no sense. And one night, like around 3 in the morning, I couldn't sleep as usual, and I could stop thinking that my mother is working with my coworkers and something's going on. So I call her 3 in the morning in the U.S. It's like it's like 10 a.m. in Central Africa. So I call her and she knows it's like 3 in the morning, and I ask her like, "What's going on? Please tell me what's going on. Are you doing something against me, or like what's going on? You've been acting weird for years now." And she says, "No, like listen, just listen. I think." And then she start being, she start acting. She's like, "I think you should just like quit, just quit, because this job is making you going crazy." And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. This is 3 in the morning. I haven't been able to sleep. I've been there for 5 years. It's time for me to just move on. I have the experience I need to. I can move on somewhere else. They're not gonna stop me from moving on, right? With the experience I have, the knowledge I have now, I can just, I'll find something. They don't control the world. So before, um, before I quit, I decided to, okay, let me go to a doctor. At that point, I lost. I'm already a skinny guy, so now I've lost so much weight. So I go to the doctor, and the doctor is like, "Yeah, you're very underweight. You should just, you should make sure you gain weight." But, and I tell like on the side of I feel pain like on the side of my stomach, like, and I mean the way she checked it was just so. First of all, like rewind, for me to find to make an appointment with a doctor was hard, and I'm normally hard because, mind you, I'm insured. I have, but for me to find a doctor that was willing to have me was hard. So that alone was, now looking at it, so I understand. And my girlfriend was like, "Oh, it's kind of odd that you're," and she was saying in a way that's comical, like, "Oh, it's kind of odd. You can, it's getting hard for you to get a doctor," and she's just trying to be like smart about it. So I find a doctor. She checks me like is to just get a physical, basic physical, and I'm telling her, my side is hurting, but she's like not even checking properly. Like I wanted to get like X-rays done because it just like it was painful, and so she said no, you just she felt it. So oh, it doesn't feel anything. Just you should be good. Very basic. And she was like, "But you lost a lot of weight. I mean, you don't have that much weight. You need to eat more." I tell her, it's probably like the stress from work. And then she's like, "Oh, you know what? you should go on, talk this. We have this person, like a therapist. You can talk to her. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll talk to her. Why not? I'm always for therapy if it's something that I can help. So I talked to her, and I was like, basically it's been work. Since work, I haven't been able to sleep, thinking that's all work. So I haven't been able to sleep well. Like I feel like there's harassment, there's some kind of gaslighting, and it's been going on for years. And she's like, you know what, you need to focus on you, and that's basic. I was like, okay, well, thank you, and that's what I'm going to do. And I ended up just resigning. I told my employer at the time, I was like, listen, I've been here for 5 years. You guys have been acting this way. I've tried to talk to HR. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going to move on. Thank you for all the opportunity, but I'm just going to move on and focus on other things because I'm becoming unhealthy. Like I'm so I resigned, and right before I resigned, the day before I resigned, I talked to my sister and asked her too. I was like, "Is there something that happened? Like, did my work come to you and talk to you into something?" And she was like, "Absolutely not. Why would they come to me? I'm your, we're family. They will not come to me. I'm your family. They will not get anything out of it." And I was like, it's kind of weird. Yeah, you're not acting. Something's off. It's like it's a game. Like it's like a game to them. And I was so confused. Like this is off. And so I was like, okay, this is weird. But first thing first, I need to focus on my health. Let me resign. Maybe that's it. I resigned, and things started shifting. First, my girlfriend, her gaslighting ways were more obvious now. She was like, she was just trying to pick, like my first day after resigning, I could hear like just like huge sigh, just like oh, this is still home. This is mind you, this is my like first day home after resigning, and mind you, I'm paying my portion. She's not, but she would just try to complain over nothing and try to like make it weird. I would wake up from sleeping and I open my eyes, I see her just staring at me, smiling, and that's not like the smiling of like somebody who cares about you, who like is admiring you, but just like a smile, and like she knows something. And I like it was weird. So in the morning, I asked her like, "What's going on? Were you okay last night?" And she was like, "Yeah, no, pretend like it's nothing." So my family, they start acting even worse. My mother asked me to go to Central East Africa for like 2 3 weeks, and we can talk. And while I was there, I kept asking, "What is going on? Why like you still acting weird?" And she's like, "Nothing. I think you just became paranoid." It's like I have family members, and some of them were mentally ill. I hope it's not that. Like I just kept bringing that up. I'm like, no, you're acting weird. You are not acting like you. Something is off with you. And she kept like switching it back to me. And it's like, okay, when I left, I was like, okay, she's just something is off with her. I don't know what's going on. I was like, is it other people in my family that's stressing her? Like, what's going on? She comes back in December of 2018. Early December, late November. And before she comes, I ask her, please, when you come, first of all, I just want to thank you for all you've done. You're my mother. I care a lot about you, but I want to know what's going on. And when you come here, I want to try again to talk to you. Is that something you can do? She's like, yeah, of course. She comes back, and she comes back even more weird. One, she was super nervous to the point where she was like physically ill. She was having bumps on her foreheads and things like, just like her anxiety was visible. And so I'm like, okay, it's 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 just weird. Like the last day she was here, I asked her, listen, this is just so bizarre. What is going on? I don't deserve this kind of treatment. Tell me what I've done for you to act this way. I'm confused. I don't know what's happening. You're acting weird. Everybody, I can hear you mumble some insults. And then when I ask about it, when I turn around, you act like so nervous. It's just like, it's like an act here. Like, what's going on? The siblings are acting weird. Everybody's acting somewhat distant and weird. They're like, I can hear a sigh, and they talk about things, and I mean, it just makes zero sense. And I'm like, this kind of act, even thinking about it right now, it's just like, it's getting to me. And so I was like, you know what? I've tried. Maybe that's the kind of situation where family, sometimes you need to distance themselves and things heal, and then, but it was just so weird, as it was just so toxic, especially when my mother was there, that I had to like remove myself. Like I could feel ill. One day I texted her and asked her, listen, please let's talk. I don't know. And then she's like, you know what? I'm worried about you. I want you to go get fixed, like to take care of yourself. I think you need to see somebody help you. It's like, what you keep referring to me and talking about mental illness, and now I know, they want you to discredit somebody. Mental illness is something, and this is basically the prep. So if I did um, end up going to see somebody, and I could say like, yeah, I'm stressed and paranoid, and they'll give me things, and they can, in long term, now they can say, he was all along on certain medicine. But anyways, I was like, okay, I don't understand what's happening. You're acting weird. Let me just, you know, take some break. This level of toxicity is just not helping me. Let me just back out a little bit. But even my brother's acting weird. My sister's acting weird. And then shortly after, my mother leaves, my own sister tries to hurt herself, and it was just, like, I don't know what was going on for her to, but my sister has, she's been going through things. So when she tried to hurt herself, and I call my mother, she's like, I don't know, with you and her, you two are acting weird. I was like, what? Why you keep bringing me in this? I'm telling you, your own daughter tried to hurt you, and you bring it back to me. And I don't know what pushed my sister to do that, but my other siblings were like around looking at me and still playing this game when I have my own sister here, like, going through like what she's going through, but they were still acting this game. It was just so weird that even when another sibling is hurt, they still focus in this game, and they play as a game. So that's when, I lived in Chicago. Me and the girlfriend at the time, it was just too much, and then, let's just move on. Broke up. She started doing her own acts, like the whole like gaslighting, until the last day she moved out. And then I decided to move from Chicago to New York, and I moved to New York last year, 2019, in late March. And yeah, and then when as I moved here, I missed my family, but I was like, okay, I need the distance. And for the first few weeks, me being away from there, being a place where I don't know many people, I can just, it was kind of relaxing, even though there was the first obvious signs of gang stalking. They started in Chicago, but in Chicago I was so focused on like my family stuff and my siblings and my, that whatever was happening around me, I didn't pay too much attention because I had so much other things to worry about, as in my relationship and my family. And yes, they now that look, but there was some stalking going on. I would go and see people following me, looking at me, like there was extra attention. Going to coffee shops, extra attention. The same narrative, trying to, yeah. So, but I came to New York, and New York. The thing is, because I didn't have the other distraction of my family, gaslighting, and my own my ex partner gaslighting, I was able to kind of be more aware of what's going on outside of that world, and that's when I noticed the gang stalking. And every once in a while, I noticed, especially when I felt like, let's just say I had a great day, I felt good. I would get a text from my mother that would demoralize me, kind of put me down, especially when I was feeling good. It's just weird. She'll send me a text message when it was a beautiful day. She would send me a text message to make me feel bad. Let's just add like my days were good. I had a great work day, and she would text me and say something to make me feel bad. And mind you, she's not only she was in a different country, and in my mind, it's like, it's like, oh, of course, what a coincidence. When I have a great day, she has to text me, like, and so it's just I was referring during this period of time, I was like, every time I had a great day, I get a text. And mind you, there was like minor gang stalking, but I didn't care at that point. Having your own family gaslighting you, it has no comparison to like strangers. So it didn't impact me as much. But on August 19, 2019, when I got the V2K, and when they were saying, they were pushing me to do things to myself or whatever, and I called. The first thing I did, I just called. I called my mother, which happens to. So she came like she was planning on coming on August 23rd or something, and my V2K was on August 19th. So like, and then I was like, okay, putting piece together, but who knows? I call, I tell her that, okay, well, listen, something has happened. I think I might have to come back to Rwanda. Um, and I'm sorry, I think I might have to come back to Central East Africa. And and you know, it might be serious, and then since she was coming to Chicago first, she said, okay, you know what, just meet me in Chicago, we talk, and then we can talk about the future. So I'm in New York. I have my first V2K. I book a ticket, like, and that's when everything goes weird in my head. The nightmares, the insertion of dreams, the, the sensations, uncontrollable, and from low stomach to weird things happening in my brain. I could feel like soreness one way. I can, obviously you have the thoughts, the intrusive thoughts, and just like your brain is just like, just especially early on, just get hit by random things, and it's just hard to describe. It's just, and then that's you think, first of all, you think, am I going crazy? And then you see, you are reassured that you're not going crazy and this is happening to you. And like, so with that mindset, I go to Chicago, try to meet her, and that's when Perps have a way to interact with you, and people who are involved in this program are in a way to interact with you. And it's basically, they have the scripts, and everybody knows about those scripts, and they do things to provoke you in a way that you would know, you, the target individual, would know. That's what. Um, and there's like a whole script, and most script, a lot of target individual have trigger words, or it's basically a way for you to know that it's you're targeted in this conversation, in this whatever. So I go to Chicago, and I know I know she's involved because she started trying to say things in a way that I could understand. Um, and they're like, she's like super happy. Like my sister say, she seems to be very happy, and it's just saying that, yeah, we all along, this is we've been on it, like we've been doing this, knowing this was going to be happening. And I'm just like, can you imagine like your family involved and you found out this is really, that's what they're acting like this all along. All this provocation was to this. And I know I'm not the only one. I know there's been a lot of targeted individuals with the same story where your own family betrays you to this extent. And that also breaks you even more. But you never knew that was it until, for me, that was like, that's what this whole campaign of like subtle harassment and making me feel like I was crazy and paranoid. And even then, she was like, you know what? I just worry about you. You talk. Sometimes I just want you to go see somebody. She kept pushing this whole like going to see a doctor or something. And like I said, it's part of the way to discredit you. You're mentally ill. So she kept trying to push that. And early on, I was like, I didn't know anything about targeting individuals. I was like, whatever helps, calm me. I need to calm this brain. It's just like it's out of nowhere. It's just a lot of weird thing going on that I don't want in my head. I can. It's just your brain is just shambled. Like it's just things are just in and out, and your body is just reacting. You have bowel movement that you can't control. You need to use the restroom every like minutes. Like a loud noise can trigger something for you to even want to go to the toilet. Like it was just so weird. And like that's early on B2K when there's a lot of conditioning, programming. Um, so yeah, so at that point I didn't know anything about targeting, but I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to New York, see what I can do if I can handle this. If not, I'm going back to Central East Africa. I come back to New York. This is ongoing. The gang stalking is ongoing. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just me. This happening to me. I'm like, you know what? This is not gonna happen in Central East Africa. This, it's a developing country. This is something that could happen only like in a Western country. So I go as I call my mother. Like, you know what? Like, I wanna, I wanna move back to Central East Africa. And she's like, you know what, before you do that, just come for 2 weeks and then you decide if you want to. Now I get it. So come and say, okay, I'm going to 2 weeks and see how it is. Come in 2 weeks, nothing changes. The V2K is full on, and that's what she meant. It's like you're gonna have the same treatment when you come here in Central East Africa. And even if you live with me, I'm making it open for people to come and do whatever they need to do, set up whatever they need to set. And that was like, okay, well, that's when I knew I probably won't see her again if I leave because she was willing to do this in her own place where I grew up, where I was raised. And then on top of that, on the day before I left, I was like, let's go see, go to the cemetery, and I want to go pay my respect to my father. Let's go together. I said, okay, let's go. We go there. This is Central East Africa. We go there, and of course, there's somebody there just talking on the phone. They're trying to distract people. There's always like the script. They're screaming the things on the phone, making sure they're heard. And my mother's there just looking at me, and I'm like in front, like this where my father was buried. You're there doing this whole script. You couldn't even wait for us to end. Like these moments, and you you were willing to do that to do this in front of where we pay our respect to my father who's your husband. And I was like, okay, well, that's when I knew this is whatever it is, whatever the benefit from it, whatever they might have black mailed her or whatever they did, it was to that point. But she's knowingly she's participating, and she's not likely participating, right? She's doing her the whole thing. Like wherever I go to cemetery, pay my respect to my father. She she'll come with, and it'll be like random gang stalker in Central East Africa on the phone, speaking loud, and I was like, okay, well, let's go to the airport. I understand. This is, you. I respect all you've done for me to get but there's nothing that should make you do that to your own son. If anything, it's one thing to not wanting to have any involvement, but to participate, it's low. It's really low. But I got it. When I got to the airport, I knew that's probably the last time I see her, and I left. So since then, I decided, I understand that isolation doesn't help. It's it helps them, right? That's the whole goal. Move you away from your family, friends, and anybody you cared for. So you're by yourself, and they can just isolate themselves. They can control this ecosystem that you're in. Now I know that. That's almost it's a year in now. But then I couldn't imagine myself seeing my own family member doing that to me, knowing that this is horrible. But now that I'm informed, understand that this is not I'm not the first going through this. That's the first thing they do is trying to separate you from your family. If your family end up staying on your side, they might even become victims themselves. I know I have one sister who tried to hurt herself, and you know, I just imagine now, like if I was around there and if they were on my side, what will happen to them? There's a lot of stories where mothers, partners, siblings were hit because they weren't going with the program. But also the worst case would be being isolated and have your own family play the perps. Now, for example, now I have a few roommates that I don't know. She comes in, she do her pounding, she say her script. And sometimes I get mad, sometimes I don't. I know it's a role, it's an act. I see her, then pretend like nobody's hurt each other, right? Um, that's better than having your own brother saying the things, pounding the wall, playing this disturbing thing while watching you slowly lose who you are. I don't know if like I don't know if I would prefer not being isolated. I understand isolation is terrible. Isolation helps them because you're by yourself with your thoughts that aren't yours anymore, and now you start confusing what's who you are and what they're trying to put in. And they keep it's, being isolated basically deprive you from reality, and reality helps a target individual to remember who they are. And that's why every time like trying to every time I go outside, I feel myself being myself again because I see other people, even though they have their own like theater and street theaters, it's still like you're still able to kind of get a grasp of who you are. But when you're isolated and you're by yourself and you're surrounded by roommates and people who live with you that are part of this program, specifically here to make sure that you are in that bubble, in that ecosystem constantly, and every time you are feeling okay, they are like here to it's definitely it's not great. So but I just want to talk to all the target individuals. If your family goes against, uh, if your family is part of this, and then people that you know and love, and they know you, end up doing that to you, and play that role that they want them to play in the perp role, you're not the first and you will not be the last. It has happened to me. It will happen to a lot more target. It's the first thing to go. The safety nets. There's a tactic to this. You're not alone. There's a lot of people with the same scripts, same exact script. I can sometimes I go through is like just exactly what's happening. Family, friends, partners, you know, interactions, all same tactic. And then they have the V2Q. That's a whole different beast. And that's like same tactics, same way to degrade, same intrusive thoughts. Same way to vilify you. Way trying to nitpick on things and try to create. This is it's all scripted the same way. They might have little tweaks here and there, but you will find a story that matches your. They've been doing that for a while. Don't be fooled by the people who are doing it. It could be anybody, your family member, somebody who looks very sensible and smart. It could be homeless person. It could be. There is no. Do not fall for it. This is. It's the scale of this is massive. It's not about you. I keep saying this is you're just a sample. You're a human being, but they see you as a sample, just a subject. It's done across the world with a huge, massive budget. You're not alone, and I hope you don't feel alone. Just tell your story, and hopefully, one day somebody will listen to it. I know this is a long video today, but when it comes to the family part, I think this is something worth taking time to talking about. This is the first betrayal. The big betrayal is usually family, because some have spouses they've been married to, who they have kids with, and they've been, so um, it's just it's terrible, it's diabolic, but stay strong. I keep telling myself the same. There'll be justice done for what they've done to us and what they're doing to us. Not only for us, but people that are no longer with us and the people that lost their life because of this. And don't hurt yourself and don't hurt others. And God bless you guys.